If Claude keeps giving you bland, obvious answers, it may not be an AI problem, it may be an instructions problem, which is annoying because blaming the robot was considerably more convenient. In this video, I'll show you a simple 4-part way to tell Claude what you actually need, then turn its first mediocre draft into something you could genuinely use in your business. And to be fair, sometimes Claude really does get things wrong. It can misunderstand you, miss facts, or say something ridiculous with the calm confidence of a man explaining cryptocurrency at a barbecue. We are not pretending every failure is your fault. But there is a very common kind of bad answer that starts before Claude writes a single word. We give it half a request, leave out the decisions that matter, and expect it to reconstruct the rest through some combination of intelligence and spiritual guidance. Then it gives us something generic. Of course it does. Imagine asking Claude, make this more professional. More professional for whom? A client? An investor? Your accountant who has already lost faith in you? Should it sound warm, direct, formal, persuasive, cautious? Should the answer be 3 sentences or a 12-page strategy document nobody will read but everyone will praise in the meeting? The phrase sounds like an instruction, but it is mostly a small bag of unanswered questions. Claude has to guess, and when it guesses, it usually moves toward the safest, broadest version of the task. That is how you get writing that is technically fine and spiritually laminated. Clearer instructions do not guarantee a perfect answer. They improve the odds that Claude is solving the problem you actually have. So instead of collecting 57 ultimate prompt hacks, use 4 pieces of information: role, task, context, and format. This is a practical structure for this video, not an official anthropic commandment carved into a server rack. Role means the perspective Claude should use. Act as an operations consultant for a small service business gives it a useful lens. The role is not there so Claude can pretend to own a briefcase. It helps establish priorities, language, and the kind of judgment the task needs. Task is the actual job, not help me with these notes. Tell it what transformation you want. Turn these client call notes into a kickoff brief. Context is the relevant truth around that job. Who will use the brief? What has already been decided? What constraints matter? What information is missing? Context is not your entire company history. Claude does not need to know where you went to middle school unless the project has gone very badly. Format is what the finished answer should look like. A 1-page brief, a table, 5 bullets, a client email. Name the sections, the length, and anything the answer must include or avoid. Role, task, context, format. Now, let's use it on something that resembles actual work. I have a fictional set of notes from a client call about a website redesign. The notes are messy because meeting notes are where complete sentences go to die. We have a 6-week target, 3 pages that matter most, a customer interview that still needs to happen, and 2 people who seem to believe the other person owns the final copy. First, I give Claude the weak version. Turn these notes into a project plan. The response looks competent. It has headings, it has phases, it has enough bullet points to trigger a mild sense of progress. But look closer. It has invented ownership. It does not separate confirmed decisions from open questions. It gives us a schedule without showing the dependencies. And the next step is basically begin the project, which is excellent advice if your operating system is a motivational poster. Now we give Claude the real brief. Role. You are an operations consultant helping a small creative agency prepare a client kickoff. Task. Turn the attached call notes into a 1-page kickoff brief the project lead can use tomorrow. Context. The redesign has a 6-week target. The home page, services page, and contact flow are the priority. Customer interviews and final copy ownership are unresolved. Use only facts in the notes. If information is missing, flag it as a question. Do not invent owners, dates, or approvals. Format. Give me 5 sections. Objective, confirm scope, dependencies, open questions with a suggested owner, and the next 3 actions. Keep it under 600 words and use plain language. That is longer than make a plan, obviously. It is also shorter than spending Thursday fixing a plan built on imaginary facts. Now the output has a job. The confirmed scope is separate from the unknowns. Dependencies are visible. Missing information is labeled instead of quietly fabricated. And the next actions can actually be assigned. This is not magic. We simply stopped making Claude guess which decisions mattered. If this kind of practical AI workflow is useful, subscribe. I make videos about getting AI out of the demo stage and into work that has deadlines, clients, and consequences. Very glamorous stuff. But the improved answer is still not finished. This is where people make the second mistake. They treat Claude's first response as either genius or garbage. Both reactions are lazy. The response is a draft you can inspect. In our kickoff brief, the structure is right, but the open questions are wordy and the actions are too cautious. So I do not restart. I tell Claude exactly what worked and exactly what needs to change. Keep the objective, scope, and dependencies as written. Rewrite the open questions as short decisions the client must make. Assign a suggested owner only when the notes support it. Then rewrite the final section as 3 concrete actions, each beginning with a verb. Do not add new facts. Notice the pattern. Protect what worked. Name what failed. Request a specific change. Restate the boundary that matters. You can use the same pattern when an email sounds stiff, an explanation is too technical, or a proposal buries the recommendation under corporate oatmeal. Do not just say, make it better. Better is not a direction. Say, cut this by a third, keep the pricing explanation, remove the jargon, and put the recommendation first. Now Claude has something it can respond to. You are not searching for a perfect incantation. You are reviewing work. And that is the real skill. Not prompting once, but steering with judgment. A well-structured answer can still be wrong. Claude can produce incorrect or misleading information, and polished formatting does not make a claim true. A gorgeous table can contain nonsense. We have achieved this without AI for decades. So check consequential facts against the original source. Review names, numbers, dates, quotes, and commitments. For legal, medical, financial, or other high-stakes decisions, use qualified professional judgment rather than treating an AI response as the final authority. And be deliberate about sensitive information. Before pasting client data, employee information, contracts, or financial details into any AI tool, understand the account, privacy settings, company policy, and permissions you are working under. Claude can help you draft, organize, compare, and think. You still own the decision and the consequences. That is not a flaw in the workflow. That is the part where you remain useful. If you are new to Claude, do not begin by building an autonomous digital workforce before lunch. Pick one recurring, low-risk task you already understand. Turn rough meeting notes into actions. Rewrite a difficult email without removing your actual point. Compare 3 options using criteria you choose. Use role, task, context, and format. Review the answer. Give one focused revision. Then ask yourself a brutally simple question. Is this now useful enough to save? If it is, save the prompt with the task. The next time, update the context instead of beginning from an empty box. Over a few uses, you are not merely collecting prompts. You are building a repeatable briefing process for work you already do. And if the answer is still bad, diagnose it. Was the task unclear? Was important context missing? Did you ask for the wrong format? Or did Claude simply fail despite receiving a good brief? That last option exists. The title is a challenge, not a religion. The method is straightforward. Give Claude a useful role. Name the exact task. Supply the context and boundaries that affect the answer. Specify the format. Then review the result and refine one problem at a time. You do not need to sound technical. You need to make the decisions in your head visible enough for the tool to work with them. If your business is experimenting with AI, but everything still feels like a pile of random chats, I help companies turn this kind of thinking into practical workflows. You can learn more at systemprompt.co. No dramatic transformation montage required. And the next time Claude gives you a bland answer, you can still blame the robot if you want. Just check the instructions first.